What's up, everybody? This is Fred Richani of TSC News here to recap UFC 205, Alvarez versus McGregor. Once again, Conor McGregor has broken the internet. Literally, right before I was about to go live for this broadcast, had the webcam and my software all set up, it literally broke. My internet went down as well. I blame this solely on Conor McGregor because if you don't know, Conor McGregor is the brand new UFC lightweight champion, making him the first fighter in UFC history to hold not one, but two UFC titles. Two titles simultaneously. Now, back in 2007, after the Pride acquisition, Dan Henderson was the Pride light heavyweight champion and middleweight champion. So technically, he was the first dual champion in UFC history, but that was from Pride. This is in the UFC, and Conor McGregor not only broke my internet, not only broke my broadcasting software, but Conor McGregor broke Eddie Alvarez's will. Left, right, and for Eddie Alvarez, it was good night. And my heart broke for Eddie. He's a guy I've been covering for a long time, one of the first fighters I ever interviewed. Worked on a few MMA documentaries in the past, one of them about fighter families, and we interviewed his wife and his family, and he seemed so down to earth, so nice. So I'm really happy that Eddie Alvarez, even in a loss, gets to take home some serious cash. That being said, the poor guy got demolished from the start. Knocked down once or twice in round number one. I'm shocked he came out of it. Round number two, tried to take down McGregor. Couldn't impose his will. Again, left, right, and it was a good night for Eddie Alvarez. And then McGregor cut the best freaking post-fight speech of all time. Started cussing, saying, where the F is the second belt? Dana White didn't get him his second belt. What? Why wasn't the other belt already out there? He said he demanded that they get it. And for all the people that say, oh, well, Conor McGregor shouldn't be making demands. Conor McGregor should learn his lesson from UFC 200. Blah, blah, blah. Listen, the UFC just got sold for $4.2 billion. There's a whole lot of debt in that company. They're trying to cut jobs. They're trying to save money. They're trying to increase their margins. Okay, that is the Conor McGregor show. Conor McGregor practically runs the freaking UFC right now. So when he asks for a second belt, you get that damn second belt. So they eventually got it. And he said, oh, I've said a lot of bad things about a lot of fighters. A lot of bad things. And I apologize to no one. To absolutely no one. And just starts going off and laughing, saying he's a champ. He can do whatever the F he wants, strutting around like Vince McMahon. This was amazing. Got on top of the cage, raised both belts. He is, in my humble opinion, the greatest MMA fighter. Well, I don't know. You know what? Screw it. He might be the greatest MMA fighter of all time. I'd say he's definitely the greatest UFC fighter of all time at this point. At this point. Can you really say anything bad about McGregor? Oh, he's not a good wrestler. Oh, this or oh, that. The guy won 3 fights at 3 different weight classes in a calendar year. This is a guy who finished Chad Mendes. Granted, Mendes was on a couple weeks' notice. But Chad Mendes, a top contender who gave Jose Aldo everything he had. He's a guy that beat one of the greatest fighters of all time in Jose Aldo in 13 mother-freaking seconds. He's a guy that embarrassingly lost to Nate Diaz, who had a 5-5 record going into that first fight, but survived his best shot and beat Nate Diaz in one of the greatest UFC fights ever back in August. And now, to beat one of the greatest lightweights of all time in Eddie Alvarez, the champ, to be a dual champion. Some people may say, oh, he hasn't defended his title. He hasn't defended his title against prominent names like Max Holloway and Frankie Edgar. But come on, guys. This guy, he has turned the MMA world upside down, knocked it on its ass, taken it over. God bless Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey, I think, draws a more diverse crowd because she's a woman, and what she's done for women has been awesome. And just in general, she's had a great career in MMA and definitely one of the all-time greats. But I'm sorry. You look at the pay-per-view numbers from McGregor at featherweight, at lightweight, at welterweight. This dude's the best. I'm sorry, this dude's the best. I realize Anderson Silva fought at different weight classes, and he had that long unbeaten streak and everything. I realize GSP, was awesome and had a great career. Definitely the greatest welterweight champion of all time by far. I know there are a lot of guys that have had great runs. Fedor, of course, had a great run, but I'm telling you, man, this 2-3, and John Jones too. Let's lump him in there. But to do what McGregor's done, man, to do what he's done at 3 different weight classes, to be at the top of 2 of the most tough, competitive weight classes in the UFC, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It really is. It's just you could not write a better story. You really couldn't. This is a guy in a business where you go from 0 to hero and the opposite like that. When he got finished by Nate Diaz, he could have easily packed it in. He could have easily given up. But he said, no, F it. Let's fight again at 170. And he won. And they said, F it. I'll come back in 3 months after a war of wars and fight the best lightweight. And he won. I'm done doubting McGregor. I am done doubting Conor McGregor. I don't know what he's going to do next. I don't know if he's going to retire. I don't know if he's going to fight Floyd Mayweather. Hell, seriously, I'm one of these people that would never, ever seriously consider seeing Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather. I don't think that's ever going to happen. And, I just, look, in boxing, I think Floyd would beat any MMA fighter in boxing. He's the best ever. But if they ever somehow make McGregor versus Mayweather, and McGregor says, I'm going to knock him out, at this point, who am I to doubt him? Seriously, who am I to doubt Conor McGregor? Man, so history was made. We also had an excellent welterweight title fight between Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Tyron Woodley that ended in a majority draw. Bruce Buffer, poor Bruce Buffer, who, to quote my good friend Kevin Marshall, who looked like a guy that was about to be killed by Robert De Niro in Goodfellas, he announced it as a split decision. It was a majority draw. So Rogan's interviewing Ty. He's saying, okay, you won, Ty. What did you think about this fight? And then Bruce Buffer's like, there was a correction. And Tyron Woodley, who got rocked in the fight, as did Wonderboy, looks at Buffer like he's going to kill him and say, oh my God, am I losing my title? What am I losing my title? What the hell is this? Turns out it's a draw. He gets to keep his title. I'm sure there's going to be a rematch. I'd say round 1 was pretty dominant for Woodley. Took Wonderboy down, imposed his will. Round 2, he chose not to take him down or try to take him down. Round 3, I'd say Wonderboy took that. So I'd say 2 rounds to 1 Wonderboy going into round number 4. And then Woodley demolished him. Hit him with a big knee, hit him with some big strikes, took him down. He pulled guard and went for the guillotine. But before that, he was just mauling Wonderboy. Seriously, I thought they could have stopped that fight. If they stopped that fight right there, I think it would have been justified. But pulled guard, went for the guillotine. That guillotine looked so deep. You could not even see Wonderboy's head. It was just ridiculous. It was buried between Woodley's massive arms. And somehow, some way, this mofo got out of it. And got on top and was launching strikes at Woodley at the end of round number 4. Now, I still think that was a 10-8, but either way, round number 5, both men were exhausted, but I thought Thompson was busier. And it was a majority draw, 47-47, 47-47. Man, oh man, and the last score was in favor of Woodley. Just crazy. Just absolutely crazy. 47-47, 47-47, and 48-47 for Woodley. But wow, just nuts. They got to do a rematch. But that was one of the best fights of the year. You guys should definitely go out of your way to see that if you missed it. We had Joanna Jędrzejczyk against Karolina Kovalchuk. I should know her last name at this point, but Bruce Buffer butchered it. I butchered it. I'm just going to call her Karolina out of respect so she doesn't murder me. She put up a great fight against Joanna Jędrzejczyk, but it was Joanna who got the win via unanimous decision. We'll see who's next, but Carolina did her thing in round number 4. She did rock Joanna in round number 4 and held her own in round number 5, but Joanna Jędrzejczyk still your women's strawweight champion. Oh, my God. We had poor Chris Weidman going up against Yoel Romero. The same Yoel Romero has been accused of cheating in a number of different ways, and this fight was no different because after round number 1, he went into his corner. His corner poured water all over him. He came out all soaking wet. He had to be dried up. Ugh. But he won this fight fair and mother freaking square. Ugh. Romero destroyed, demolished, damn near murdered Weidman in New York City with a vicious flying knee. Destroyed him on the ground. Oh, my goodness gracious. And the crowd they were stunned. They were stunned. TKO victory for Yoel Romero. Just absolutely destroyed him. He was going around saluting people because his nickname is the Soldier of God. Because, God would definitely love a guy not going to do that with a knee and, allegedly doing PEDs and cheating in his corner. But other than that, I'm sure God loves Yoel Romero. And he was talking in Spanish line by line. It was weird. Usually when a translator translates for a guy, the guy says a spiel and then the translator goes. But it's he's translating line by line, line by line. And then they pointed to Michael Bisping, who's doing commentary for Fox. He's standing there. They said that he's going to get the next shot against Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping flipped him off and said, "Kiss my ass." Then Yoel Romero said something in English. He magically started speaking English again. I guess ever since the gay Jesus speech, they don't want him really speaking English anymore. But yeah, Yoel Romero and Michael Bisping is next. And I got to say this, I will not be mad if Michael Bisping magically, conveniently gets injured right before a fight with Yoel Romero, because that is a scary man. That is a scary, frightening man, and I would not want to fight him, even if I was the middleweight champion. So, Michael Bisping, if you stub your toe, if you step on a rusty nail by accident, brother, I understand. We also had in the opener Miesha Tate lose to Raquel Pennington via unanimous decision. Just a great performance by Raquel Pennington. And then Miesha Tate announced her retirement, and she said, it's not my time anymore. I've been around for a long time. I couldn't pull it off, and that's that. She's still really young, though. I could see her coming back, but this was a bad loss for her, just like the Amanda Nunes loss was. And I think it's bad for the UFC because she's a pretty big star for him. With the benefit of hindsight, I think it would have been better back at UFC 200 to have done Holly Holm versus Miesha Tate. Would have kept both girls relevant. Now Miesha Tate, after 2 straight losses, is retired. And Holly Holm now has lost 2 straight fights, and who the hell knows what her future is. So much for that. And next month, Ronda Rousey fights Amanda Nunes. And let's just say Amanda Nunes beats Ronda Rousey, and Ronda Rousey decides, you know what? I am going to hang up the gloves and retire. I mean, that's 3 of your top women stars fading relatively quickly. Not good if you're the UFC. So we'll see what happens with her future. But if she calls it a career, then she calls it a career. It was a great career for Miesha Tate, and I hope she does well in whatever she chooses to do. In the prelims, we had Frankie Edgar beat Jeremy Stephens via unanimous decision. He survived a big scare in round number 2. Jeremy Stephens is no joke. Really awesome fight. We had Khabib Nurmagomedov destroy Michael Johnson in round number 3. And then Khabib did this anti-US... I don't know if it's anti-USA. It was like anti-Ireland promo. It was like a straight-up pro wrestling promo. He says, I want to stay humble, but I have to talk. And he says, UFC is a crazy PR machine. And he says that Ireland only has 6 million people. Russia, his home country, has 150 million. He spoke in Russian. He spoke in Arabic. It was freaking great. And he says, do you think I deserve a title shot, Joe? And Rogan's like, yeah, I think you do. But it shouldn't be overlooked that Michael Johnson, early in the fight before Khabib went to the ground, did have success on the feet. So if McGregor could avoid the human suplex machine that is Nurmagomedov, or at least avoid the suplexes of the human suplex machine, or the takedowns, I think he'll have success against Khabib. But Yeah, this was dominant for Khabib. And Michael Johnson, he's a tough mofo. We had Tim Bosch finish Rafael Natal with a big right hook, and he won in round number 1. We also had right here unanimous decision Jim Miller defeating Thiago Alvarez, who missed weight. Jim Miller said, "You know what? I ain't missing this fight. We're gonna gain some weight." They had the fight. Miller won via unanimous decision. That was pretty good. And Liz Carmouche won in the opener against Caitlin Chukagian via unanimous decision. Pretty good fights all around. This was a great card. It's unfortunate that Rashad Evans and Tim Kennedy was called off due to a medical issue with Rashad. It's unfortunate that Donald Cerrone and Kelvin Gastelum, which would have been a barn burner, was called off because Kelvin Gastelum missed weight very badly. Who knows what the hell his future is? It definitely ain't at welterweight. That's for sure. So overall, a massive thumbs up. Definitely worth the price of admission. And I really don't know what's next for Conor McGregor, but you got to believe it's going to continue to be history-making and money-making for the Notorious One. But folks, I'm going to get on out of here. I had a big party, had a bunch of people over my house. I'm out of breath. I want to hear from you. What did you think about UFC 205? What do you think about Conor McGregor's future? Let me know. Leave a comment below. Tweet us, Facebook us. Do what you got to do. If you enjoyed this recap, please like, share, take care, and until next time, as always, enjoy the fights.